on the eve of a beach vacation. I am so excited to go away, to get my feet in the sand, to lay back, watch the ocean. And what do you need when you are going to the beach? You need beach reads. So for today, we are going to talk about some recommendations that I have for some of my favorite beachy romance reads. The first one I'm going to talk about is a book I actually read fairly recently. I ended up getting the arc of this book, and it is a true rom-com. The romance was great. It was funny. It had me laughing out loud at times. It was a great mix of romance and comedy, and that is Italy Can Bite Me. This is by Melissa Ryan, and it is the start of a series. The second book is already out, and I still have yet to read it. So definitely an option for me for beach reads coming up over this time while I'm away. Katie is a super A-type personality. She's a planner, a girl after my own heart. I am also a big planner, so I totally relate to Katie in that way. She has a fiance, and her fiance actually calls off the wedding because Katie is so much of a planner that he feels like she can never be spontaneous. He calls off the wedding. Her aunt convinces her to come on a senior's tour of Italy. She does this because she's like, oh, I can be spontaneous. I'm going to show Jared that I can be spontaneous, and I'm going to go on this trip last minute. And the seniors tour is hysterical. Her aunt, hilarious. Everybody on this tour will have you laughing out loud. The tour is being run by a man called Matteo, and obviously Katie finds Matteo quite handsome. He is very handsome. He's a nice, hot Italian man. And a romance does spark between her and Matteo. The one thing I really loved about this book was that I felt like I went on a vacation through Italy while I read this. It really felt like I was seeing Italy as they toured Italy. And that was really fun as well. A 5-star this year for me was Out of the Woods by Hannah Bottom Young. Obviously, because this is set in a woodsy outdoor retreat, it really gives summer vibes, and the book is so fast to read. You can fly through this. You just keep wanting to turn the pages until you find out how these two rekindle their romance. This is a second chance marriage on the rocks situation between Caleb and Sarah. Caleb is a hot nerd. We love to see it. We also really love Sarah. These two got together very young. High school sweethearts, got married extremely young, like 19, 20 years old. Now they're in their 30s. And Sarah especially feels very lost in this marriage. She feels like Caleb has his own identity in the relationship, but she has kind of become lost in their marriage and doesn't have her own footing. And it's now causing issues in their marriage that she's feeling this way. So she recommends that they go on this marriage retreat out in the woods. And they do. And we see them work on their marriage. And I think it was a really true look at what it looks like as relationships grow and change. No matter how young you get married, obviously these two got married young, and I think it's more common when you do get married young, you have moments in your relationship where you're growing and you're changing, and you have to figure out how to grow together for that marriage to continue to work or that relationship. And I really felt like Hannah Bottom Young hit that on the head in this. One of the books I read at the end of last year for Goodreads Choice was Christina Lauren's The Paradise Problem. This is like an actual marriage, but fake dating, and I'll explain how that goes. So Anna and Liam meet in college, and they can't find a place to live except in family housing. So they actually get married so they can live in family housing in college. At the end of their university experience, they sign paperwork to end this marriage, or at least that's what Anna thinks. She doesn't read the paperwork really well. And Liam, because he comes from money and there's an inheritance clause in that, he needs to remain married for a certain period of time. He thinks Anna knows this. She doesn't. She thinks she's divorced, when all of a sudden she finds out that she's not. And Liam, who's been pretending to be married for Anna for years, they haven't seen each other in years, needs her to come to a family wedding because everybody's wondering where his wife is. And they're starting to get suspicious. and he doesn't want the inheritance to be blown. This takes place at a tropical destination wedding, so perfect beach vibes. I would be remiss if I did not talk about Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Now, Wildfire is not the book in the Maple Hill series I talk about the most because it's my least favorite. However, I gave it 4 stars. I still really, really enjoyed it. The other 2 are just like my best books of all time. This is the only one that's not centered around hockey. This is set in the summer when Russ, one of our hockey players, goes to work at a summer camp. And there he meets Aurora, another camp counselor. Camp counselors are not supposed to have dalliances, but they do, and it's quite spicy. These are really, really complex characters that have a lot going on in their lives, like so much. And I think the reason I didn't love this as much as the other 2 is I just related less to these 2 characters. But honestly, any Hannah Grace book from the Maple Hill series, and hopefully from the new series that she just announced she's about to write or publish, I will continue to love and recommend because Hannah Grace, auto-buy author for me. And obviously this gives big time summer vibes being set at a summer camp. Whiskey Business by Elliot Fletcher. This cover just screams summer. It just screams it to me. And this one is set in Scotland when April, who is from Scotland originally but has been in the States for quite some time working as an actress, goes home after the passing of her grandfather. Her grandfather and her grandmother basically raised her. They own a whiskey distillery, and April is going home to kind of set everything in rights. When she gets to Scotland, she discovers Malcolm, who has been running the distillery with her grandfather and for her grandfather for quite some time. They do not hit it off. They don't. There's a lot of miscommunication going on, not necessarily in a bad way. Normally I don't like it, but there's a lot of things that are misunderstood between the 2 about the ownership, about who is going to run the distillery based off what her grandfather has kind of left in his passing. He's left a lot of things iffy and not really sure what's going to happen. And that does put them on opposite sides for some time, but obviously a romance does happen between them. The second book in this series just came out, and I'm really excited to continue because in each book we follow one of the McCabe brothers, which is Malcolm's brothers. So Malcolm, the first book, and I forget which order we follow the other 2, but we follow a brother in each one and their romance. If you have ever wanted to visit Prince Edward Island, reading This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune will take you there via a book. I live very close to Prince Edward Island, and I have gone there many times on vacation. And the way the atmosphere of Prince Edward Island was put into this book was so fantastic. And I will sing its praises forever for the atmosphere and the vibes of this book. It is top tier. In this book, we follow Lucy and Felix. Lucy is Bridget's best friend. Felix is Bridget's brother. And every summer, Lucy and Bridget, they met in Toronto or somewhere in Ontario. I think it's Toronto. They go home to Bridget's family home for a vacation in Prince Edward Island. And every year, Lucy has an incident with Felix. But obviously nobody can know because he's off limits, being Bridget's brother. This summer is going to be a little bit different. Bridget is about to get married. Lucy gets a phone call from Bridget saying, like, I need a break. I need a break from planning this wedding. Something is going on. Can you meet me in Prince Edward Island? Lucy gets on a plane. She gets there, but Bridget's plane is delayed. So she's the only one in Prince Edward Island. Felix is there, and they need to sort out whether they are actually going to have a relationship or not. Honestly, brother's best friend or best friend's brother is a trope that like will always get me interested in a book. And the atmosphere of just knowing the places I was at and being able to vividly see it made this book a 5-star for me. Then we have At First Sight by Olivia Dade. This book follows Athena, and Athena's wedding has just been called off by her fiance because the brother talked him out of marrying her. She's already sold her house to move into the house that they were going to live in together. So she has to move into this house because it's really her only option. When she moves in, she finds out that the neighbor across the alley is the brother that talked his brother out of marrying her. So she decides to be spiteful, hence the title. And she decides to make his life a living hell because why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she do that? And a scene in this book that really just screams summer vibes is it's so warm and it's so hot where they are that obviously you have to keep the windows open because it's hot. You need to keep your windows open so you don't die of heat stroke. And she decides to torture him by blasting a Monster Smut audiobook. It's a hilarious scene. And I just was laughing out loud during the whole thing. There's also really, really, really excellent depression representation in this book. There are so many things that I could shout out about this book, but it is a perfect pickup for these summer months. And I cannot wait for the next book to come out in this series. I have to talk about the Love Light Farm series and the book that is set in summer during the Love Light Farm series. Every book is set in a different season, Mixed Signals being set in summer, and this is my second favorite of the series. This follows Caleb and Lila. Lila is a baker at Love Light Farms. You know I love a baking romance, so instantly that's got my attention. Caleb is the golden retriever boyfriend that you want. And she is honestly pretty sunshiny, so it's like golden retriever sunshine. It's just a joyous summer romance. These two do not have good luck in dating, so they decide to basically trial date each other to get feedback on what they're doing wrong and, you know, sparks fly. Never Been Kissed by Timothy Janowski is like a summer jobs romance, and I'll explain how that works. In this book, we follow Ren, and Ren, on the eve of his birthday, he's never been kissed. He is kind of struggling with that, and he writes an email to every boy that he ever thought about kissing or like came close to kissing. Not intending to send them, however, he's a little drunk at the time. One of those boys is Derek, and he's a little bit embarrassed at what he's done, but you know what? He'll never see these people. It's fine. He goes to his summer job at the drive-in movie theater, and who is working there but Derek? It's a little awkward, but these two have to come together anyway to save the drive-in movie theater because it is in perils of being shut down. If you're looking for a really, really cute male-male romance, this is it. Finally, let's round this off with another set of cabin books going away to a summer cabin retreat with Between a Fox and a Hard Place. This follows the Fox family who own rental cabins, a slew of them. They kind of have like a little park of rental cabins. But Finley, who is the oldest, is trying to keep this afloat and honestly is struggling with that. And then all of a sudden, Archer shows up. Archer is a solution specialist who's being hired by his friend who wants to buy the entire set of cabins. He wants to buy the whole thing and basically, in Finley's mind, steal it from the family while it's struggling. And Archer is a solution specialist, and he's coming in trying to figure out how to make this work for everybody. How can he make everybody happy in this situation? Obviously, that's next to impossible when everybody wants to own the cabins. He comes in, sees that Finley is struggling, and also really wants to work with her to find a solution. So he starts helping her around the park and helping her fix up the cabins. And within that, they do have a romance. And I have yet to continue this series. At some point I will. It's one of the many series that I'm in the middle of that I need to continue. You know the spiel. But we follow a different Fox sibling in each book. But that is my recommendations for, I believe I did 10. Don't quote me on that, but I think I did 10 beach reads. I am going to go finish getting packed and head off to the beach. I hope you enjoyed these recommendations, and I would love to hear what your favorite beach reads are as well. If you have nothing to say down in the comments, leave me like a beach emoji down there just to let me know that you were here. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me so much, and I'll see you in the next one.